and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you the top 10 best Ark resource gatherers. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So in at number 10 we have got the Astratina. If you didn't know, this is a really great passive way to get yourself cementing paste, sort of like how the Castoroides is a way of getting passive oil quite easily. And I do find, yes, you know, that could be an honorable mention for this list, although I have not got it included here. I just find this isn't the hardest thing to tame, just some sweet vegetable cake will get it done, and the fact that you can get loads of cementing paste through this is really useful, especially if you're on a server, because I'll be running all the time you're offline. Really amazing thing. So is the dung beetles as well, actually. So the shadow mane is something or just some creature that you may not consider to be a great resource gatherer, but in my opinion it really can do quite a bit in terms of hide and meat gathering. It is a very nice carnivore to use, extremely mobile, you can get around with ease, and it's actually quite a good creature for gathering some fish meat as well. It can be very easily done as it is a tremendous swimmer, and you do find that with a lot of carnivores. I was considering putting maybe like the Castoroides or the Rex on here, or the Spino, or a creature like that, but I find that these creatures do it better because they are more mobile. I'm not sure if the meat gathering rate is different and actually a lot higher on those, but I just find it's easier to get it done with those still really powerful small creatures, as they can just get everything done more effectively and efficiently. In my eyes, it really does just work well for me, and that is why I simply have to put these creatures on the list, as I really do love them for all of the gathering which they do for me, and I actually think they deserve a little bit more attention in the resource gathering community, because they definitely can do quite a bit which you might not expect them to do. The Castoroides is up next, and also the Megalosaurus, as the male Megalosaurus, as a short honorable mention, as it is a really great stats gatherer, and I really do commend it for that. I just haven't put it on this list because I thought it would kind of go nicely with this creature, which is the Castoroides. Of course, I've already said that, and this is your go-to wood gatherer, and obviously wood and thatch go hand in hand. One is a very useful resource for any kind of structure, guns, weaponry, and one is just naked zombo's absolute favorite resource. And with the Castoroides being so good at getting wood, they really do deserve to be on the list. Yes, obviously, I think it's like the chainsaw. I think it's called that, at least in the game. My mind is failing me at this time of day, or night I should really say. But yes, that is a very good way of getting wood. But the Castoroides is also a splendid way too. It is relatively quick and agile and get around too. And actually in the early game, it can be a reasonably good way to get silica pearls, as they're not the worst swimmers out there, and they can get away for some dangers. And on top of that, actually, they can pack some bite and punch as well. Definitely don't underestimate them in the damage department, although maybe you originally would. In number 7 we have got the Stegosaurus, and it's just one of those creatures where you do have to respect it for its berry gathering. It is one of those creatures where it's like, it does its job effectively. You can say the Bronto is a very good suggestion as well, but the Stegosaurus, the OG, the Trike, and the Parasaur is also some good suggestions on top of that as well. But I find out of all of the creatures on the list, the Stego kind of deserves the most credit, as I find it can gather a lot of berries reasonably quickly, especially considering its size. Yes, maybe not quite to the volume of the Bronto, but it comes with a little bit more ease of use and also general versatility as well. I know they're not aspects which are on the list today, but still I thought I would factor that in, as they are just generally just nicer creatures to use on the whole. Also, they're a little bit more inconspicuous as well, so if you don't have cryopods yet, you can tuck them away more easily, and that's more useful obviously for PvP servers, but for PvE as well, you might just not have the space to facilitate something like a Bronto, at least not easily. Yes, you could leave them outside, but you risk them getting killed by some other dinos. And obviously they're great tanks as well for given PvP scenarios, and it is just actually pretty good at gathering wood as well. I think with the heavy plate, something like that. Either the heavy plate or the hardened plate. It'll probably be the heavy plate, because the hardened plate's the one used for turret soaking. But yeah, that one's actually pretty good for gathering wood as well. The Deinonychus, in my opinion, is sort of the upgrade to that meat and hide gathering thing. and that is why I've decided to put it here. Generally, I do prefer them as creatures. They have the bleed ability as well. The Shadow Mane doesn't, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, they don't have dehydration buffs. They're not going to be as good as gathering all kinds of fish, but still, they can kill big and large creatures really quickly. They can simply grapple onto them like that. You can even just bring one out. You don't really need more than that for all of your resource gathering needs. Quickly tear them to shreds and get all of that meat and hide. You're going to have no issues whatsoever. Pretty great at gathering some chitin as well. Keratin is going to be easy too. And actually, that does remind me, if you're wondering about the Megatherium, I'm going to give that a brief honorable mention, as that is a really great chitin gatherer for its insect buff, where essentially if it kills an insect, it will rage and you can just get loads of damage out of it. But generally, going to a cave with pretty much any creature that is powerful enough to defeat everything with all of those bugs, you're going to have a lot of chitin out of it anyway. But the Megatherium really is going to farm tons and tons and tons, especially if you're in the insect cave. And there's another creature which is actually further on the list, which could be useful in that scenario as well, but we'll get onto it slightly later on in the list. But yeah, the Deinonychus, a great meat and hide chitin keratin gatherer. It takes no fall damage, really is an extremely mobile creature, and very much deserving of this spot on the list. In number 5 is the Theri, and I'll give the Mosschop a little bit of credit as well, although the Theri shadow is unlocked at level 69. Either way, this creature is, in my opinion, the best fiber gatherer out there, whereas the Mosschop is also a really great one and really great for organic polymer as well, and I do really attribute it for that. And it is a great gathering tame. It's just, you know, there are so many creatures to really get through, and these are the ones that I've thought of first and resonate most with me. But if you do feel as if I've missed any creatures, I probably have acknowledged them in some way, or maybe at least tried to in this video. And even if I've completely missed them blatantly, I'm sure I'll still care. And leave a comment down below with what your favorite gatherer is, or gatherers which you think that I may have missed, as I always do want to know what maybe I can add to these videos into the future to maybe just make them better and in some ways more personalized to you as well, while still keeping the opinions valid to me as well. Yes, I know there's a lot of PvP players that watch my content, but do just take into mind that I'm a very PvE centered channel, so most of your PvP stuff, while interesting to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense overall. I'm really like not knowledgeable at all when it comes to any of that stuff. And yes, they're all very nice and useful tactics, but I'm just surely I don't really use them as much as maybe I should. Speaking of that creature that I was talking about before, with that insane gathering of not chitin but with caves and insects, you're going to get yourself a heck of a lot of cement space with this thing, much faster and much quicker than the Ashetina, obviously. And also, sorry about that part ramble on about the Theri there when I talked about other stuff. I went a bit off topic. I'll promise not to do that later on, and also just throughout the rest of this video. But yes, this is the best cement paste gatherer out there in my opinion. Beaver dams exist, but nothing does really compare to a creature like this. It is fast, agile, very mobile, and if you get a good level, it has enough health and damage to withstand some caves, especially even the insect cave. If you just take your time a little bit, you can get yourself tons and tons, tens of thousands of chitin. In fact, the real difficulty is just getting all of that chitin out of the inventory of this thing and out of the cave, because you'll be slot capped and overweight and all of that stuff as well. That's not the best situation to find yourself in, but they can just gather so much chitin. That's simply what they do. And also they can gather some fish pretty effectively as well. They are great swimmers, and you can do a little bit of combat with them, so some hide and meat wouldn't be the hardest thing out there to get, but mainly these things are the best for chitin gathering, which is useful in so many crafting recipes. In number 3, I've decided to put the Mantis, as I find it is a really versatile creature. Yes, maybe you don't think of it as a really great gatherer for all of or just specific resources, but the thing is, this thing can gather just so many things, anything that you can physically gather with a given melee weapon, that being meat, hide, chitin, keratin, wood, thatch, stone, flint, metal, obsidian, crystal, rare mushrooms, rare flowers, fiber and all of that stuff you can gather with this creature with absolute ease. You just simply need to equip that weapon, and you can get quite a lot of it pretty quickly. The only difficulty is sometimes the Mantis can be a little bit of a pain to tame, and especially if you aggro it in some cases, it's not the easiest or most friendliest thing to come to. But once you've got one, especially if you've got a high level one, you're really going to enjoy these things and their versatility in resource gathering, which is why I think they really do deserve this spot on the list. Again, I named just so many resources, and there are even more as well that these creatures can gather. Pretty much, again, any feasible resource that you can gather with any given melee weapon out there on a creature, or just actually that you can equip. Tech weapons, I'm pretty sure, do not work on this thing. And also just to bear in mind, the durability of the weapons will drop a lot more on the Mantis compared to when it is on you. So the weapons might break a little bit faster than you expect. At number 2, we have got the Desmodus, and this is just for actually maybe 2 simple reasons. They are really great at farming blood bags, and one of my favorite art creatures out there is the Bloodstalker, and also the Desmodus as well, and that is very useful for taming Bloodstalkers and the Desmodus as well, and they can give you a little bit of a nice healing boost as well, although the medical brews will work a lot better. And I'm pretty sure there is a timer on how fast you can consume blood bags as well, so not the best, but you still can use them in a pinch. But the main thing about this is the fact that they have Sanguine Elixir, which is an absolute cheat for tames. The fact that you can craft it with the resources that it gathers, obviously being blood bags, it's also great meat and hide gatherer, chitin, keratin, all the things that you can gather for animals, it's going to do perfectly as well. But that Sanguine Elixir, 30% of that tame is done with a click of a button. No issues whatsoever. It really is a golden star creature when it comes to its resource gathering. I really feel as if it deserves to be in the number 2 spot. It is just so good, and that resource is just so useful to have, especially for me as a PvE player that does a heck of a lot of taming. But anyway, in at number 1 is the Anki, and also the Dodig as well. That's just a side thing. They really both do fit into the number 1 spot for me. They are just such good gatherers, but the Anki is the main one, as without metal, really, what are you going to do in Ark? I know you can gather metal without the Anki. The Mantis can gather metal really well, but the Anki gathers it a lot better. You can get crystal and obsidian a lot better. This essentially acts as the pick upgraded. I hear some people going around just like, oh, why isn't there a better pick after the metal pick? This is essentially that, and then if you want a better hatchet, then get the Dodig and it will do all of that for you. These 2 creatures are the best resource gatherers in the game. It is going to do everything that you need it to do, or everything that you need a pick or a hatchet to do, but just on another level. And if you pair them with an RG as well, if you've got some cryopods too, then you can carry them around very easily. But then, boom, like that, get loads of metal, stone, thatch, and wood, and obsidian, and crystal, and all of those resources, and then carry them all back in the RG and probably not even be encumbered whatsoever. It is just such a great resource gathering strategy, and I really do advise it. No mining drill or whatever is going to compare to the sheer amount of gathering that you can get out of a creature like this. But anyway, that is it in today's video. I really hope that you've enjoyed. Also, sorry that I forgot the Castoroides, if that is something that you're going to mention. I gave it a brief mention in the outro. Either way, comment down below what your favourite art resource gatherer is, and if you didn't agree with this, put your 10 in the comments below. I'll see you later.